Hi everyone. Today we will be talking a little bit about atom bombs, the science behind atom bombs, and get to read an account of a man who survived not only one atom bombing, but two. Throughout the years, scientific technology has slowly become more advanced. Humans evolved and our technology evolved with us. New discoveries were made and continue to be made that are changing the course of history forever as we know it. One of the most explosive, harmful, and helpful discoveries was nuclear fission, or a simpler term would be splitting atoms. This is a huge discovery that would change the future forever, and it was just the beginning. The splitting of atoms is when humans manipulate periodic elements to create a nuclear reaction through fission. This is very dangerous and can be harmful or helpful depending on how the technology is used. The discovery that changed the world. Bonus: an explosive inside look at the science behind it all. There was little knowledge about the process of nuclear fission for most of our history, and science knew nothing really about the nuclear fission until the 1900s. So, considering it's only the 2000s, we haven't known about it very long. Whenever the first man, Enrico Fermi, discovered it, he didn't really have a concrete theory or evidence to prove that he had discovered the nuclear fission, so a lot of credit isn't even given to him, but he was the man who originally discovered it. It was soon confirmed by several other scientists from many different laboratories and colleges that tested his theory and proved it, and then it turned out that, he did make a new discovery. He didn't even know that he had just made a discovery that was going to lead to a future of scientists being able to really harness the energy of the sun. So, how that works is there's a bombarding particle, which is like a ball, and then your target material, which is also in a circular shape. And then whenever they set off an explosion inside, and they kind of just crash into each other, and it splits the target material in half. And this is what creates the nuclear fission and the really catastrophic explosion of the light and the heat. So, the target material they usually use is uranium-235, and it's not very widely found, but they also have ways to create it, and then they just really bombard it with a bunch of neutrons, and that is how they make it explode. This is the same way that the sun produces its heat and energy, and because it is a self-sustaining chain reaction, that is why it continues to burn to this day, and that is also the reason why the atom bombs are so explosive, is because it self-sustains and it just keeps exploding into these massive quantities until it finally burns itself out. So, as a result of all this nuclear fission technology, that is how the atom bomb was born. So, this is a picture of what they call the mushroom cloud on an atom bomb. Whenever the bomb goes off, the reaction goes straight up in coils, and then it expands as it flames out. Alright. Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Japan gets bombed. Okay, so before we talk about Hiroshima and Nagasaki, we need to first think about why the atom bomb was created in the first place. So, whenever they were first discovering the atom bomb, the first use they could possibly think of was nuclear warfare. So, after a couple of testings in some more common places like Chicago and New Mexico, they decided that they were going to drop 2 bombs on Japan. The first 2 cities to ever fall victim to this very destructive atom bomb were Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The first atom bomb was nicknamed Little Boy. So, Little Boy was the first bomb to be dropped, obviously, and it was made out of the standard uranium, basic default atom bomb. It was dropped onto Hiroshima, and it literally incinerated everything in its path and just left a thick layer of dust and ash and completely burned alive corpses. It said, rumor has it that the ashes were so thick that when they would hold their hand up in front of their face, they couldn't even see it because there was just, the air quality was that bad. Over 80,000 people were killed instantly, and then after that, it was just, they fell ill to radiation sickness, which is basically when it rots your body from the inside out, and there was no treatment, there was nothing they could do. So after the initial 80,000 were dead, after that hundreds of thousands more died. Of course, Japan did not surrender after this first bomb, and that's when the second attack happened. So the second atom bomb, called Fat Man, was dropped onto Nagasaki, and instead of being made of uranium, they actually used plutonium, which is slightly more radioactive, and they didn't drop it on the original spot, but it was still just as destructive. It killed 40,000 people or more instantly. And then once again, just like Little Boy, the first bomb, everybody just got radiation sickness, and it flattened the city, and it was really just a catastrophic event. There was a man, however, that somehow managed to survive both of these bombings. And I'm not sure I'm saying it properly, but his name was Tsutomu Yamaguchi. He was in Hiroshima on a business meeting whenever the first bomb fell, and it blew him to the ground, and it was just terrible. He couldn't see when he woke up. He was deaf. And then he was on his way home, and he went to go home immediately to go find his wife and son to make sure they were okay. And he had to go through all of the cities and see all of the destruction that was going on around him. It came to a point where there was a river full of dead bodies, and he was forced to swim through it because the roads were gone, there was no rail stations. The only way through was just to swim through. Once he got home, he actually went to go meet with his boss, and that's whenever the second bomb hit, and in both of these instances, he was less than 2 miles from where the bomb originally exploded. So just to think that he even survived that is amazing in my opinion, because it literally burnt him to the point that he was unrecognizable. And yet somehow, whenever the second bomb went off, he survived it again. He got really ill with the radiation poisoning, and they didn't think that he was going to survive it. But he pulled through, and he lived to be 93. He passed away in 2010. And he had several children and grandchildren, and it's just amazing to think that he was able to overcome that. So what does the future hold with our discoveries in nuclear fission and atom bombings? Well, I think we can vote that it's one of the best and worst things we've created. It's great for, a safe power source and, things like that, but whenever it comes to negative impacts, it's one of the worst things we've ever created. We took a natural process that we found in the universe that we weren't really supposed to mess with, and we turned it into a nuclear weapon that kills thousands. But, even though if you look past that, it's still okay for a very, powerful source of heat and light that we can use. It's really dangerous. It can be good or bad, and it both positively and negatively impacts our past, our present, and it will continue to be that way in the future. It is up to us to decide where we go with this technology And I guess we can just thank Enrico Fermi for discovering it for us. If you want to know where I got my information, be sure to check out the sites. They're all very interesting if you just want to read up on it, and the one at the very bottom is about Sutamu, the man who survived, and it's a heart-touching story. So thank you for watching. Sorry that it was so long.